continuation with our series about abortion. This will be the next part of definitions and killers of act and heart. Definition of abortion. People today recognize the word abortion to just mean killing a baby prematurely. With that being the modern definition, the real confirmation of the word is missed by today's willful ignorance. The words abortion, abortive, abortively have the same basic meaning in the sense of anything miscarrying or failing to produce after its own kind. Genesis 1. But let's define some terms. Webster's 1828 defines abortion as the act of miscarrying or producing young before the natural time or before the fetus is perfectly formed. In a figurative sense, any fruit or produce that does not come to maturity or anything which fails in its progress before it is matured or perfect as a design or project. The fetus brought forth before it is perfectly formed. Now, there are only two kinds of abortions. First, natural abortion, which is performed or allowed by God. Another word for it is miscarriage. The other kind of abortion is intention for personal gain, murder. With the word being properly defined, let's get to the real truth behind this pro-life crowd as well as some of their arguments. As you will find, these views may sound good, but have false teachings which neglect Bible truth. I'm not saying that all the pro-life people are ridiculous, but I talk about the pro-life crowd just like I talk about a lot of well-intentioned religious groups like the Hebrew Roots movement, Baptists, especially the Fundamental Baptist movement, and other circles like that, which all of them mean well, but there are extreme beliefs that are unbiblical and heretical that need to be pointed out. So we're going to go through some of the hypocrisies within these groups to point out that these are the errors. First, let's get into what I call the pro-life killers. Boy, these conservatives are really something, aren't they? They're all in favor for the unborn. They will speak out for it, fight for it, and protest, but when it's born, they say, "You're on your own, chubby." When that kid is born, they don't want to know, see, or even hear about you. I mean, no welfare, food stamps, daycare, hot lunch, Head Start, or nothing. If you're preborn, you're fine, but as soon as you're preschooled, you're done for. You're done for. They yell pro-life, pro-life. Look, these people mostly are not pro-life. They're killing doctors, for God's sake. Observe the article from Wikipedia. This lengthy quote. Anti-abortion violence. Doctors and facilities that provide abortion have been subjected to various forms of violence including murder, attempted murder, kidnapping, stalking, assault, arson, and bombing. Anti-abortion violence has been classified by governmental and scholarly sources as terrorism. Only a small fraction of those opposed to abortion committed violence, often rationalizing their actions as justifiable homicide or defense of others committed in order to protect the lives of fetuses. In the United States, for abortion providers, Drs. David Gunn, John Britton, Barnett Slepian, and George Tiller has been assassinated. Attempted assassination have also taken place in the United States and Canada, and other personnel at abortion clinics, including receptionists and security guards, have been killed in the United States and Australia. Hundreds of bombings, acid attacks, invasions, and incidents of vandalism against abortion providers have also occurred. Notable perpetrators of anti-abortion violence include Eric Robert Rudolph, Scott Roeder, Shelley Shannon, and Peter Jennings Hill, the first person to be executed in the United States for murdering an abortion provider. As pointed out before, even though only a small fraction commit these crimes, the other pro-life people mostly are probably chanting them on, or they don't even mention it for either two reasons. One, it will either throw mud and dirt on their position, or they are secretly in favor of it, but they just pretend it's not a good idea. So what kind of pro-life is that? So they'll do anything to save the fetus, but if it grows up to be a doctor, they just might have to kill it? Take heed, brethren. This country has legalized an act of murder that angers Jehovah God. Absolutely. We cannot object that we agree in believing that a current abortion is sin and wrong. However, that does not excuse violence, bloodshed, and hate speech. It could avail those protesters and preachers nothing, that they might think themselves right. We must not compromise the authority of God's word against sin, but we must maintain a bold, truthful love and honesty. Next, let's talk about pro-life hypocrisy. You know what most of these pro-life people are? They're anti-woman. It's as simple as that. They don't like them. They're against women. You don't see most of these pro-life women having black or foreign babies transplanted into their uteruses, do you? No. You don't see them adopting a whole lot of these drug or crack babies, do you? No, but that's probably something Christ would do. And speaking of life, what about the carbon atoms? Huh? Human life and life itself cannot exist without carbon. So is it just possible that maybe we shouldn't be burning all this coal? Just looking for some consistency in these pro-life arguments. Let me ask you some questions. Why is it when it's a baby, it's called an abortion, but when it's a chicken, it's an omelet? Are we so much better than chickens all of a sudden? When did this happen, that we passed up chickens in goodness? Let me ask you a question. Give me 6 ways we're better than chickens. I challenge you to provide your reasons in the comments. You probably can't do it. Do you know why? Because chickens are decent people. Even God called the ants people. See Proverbs 30:24-25. You don't see these chickens hanging around the druggies on the street corner, do you? You don't ever hear of a chicken coming home drunk and beating the heck out of his own hen, do you? When was the last time you heard of a chicken cutting someone up and eating them piece at a time? You don't hear about that. Why? Because chickens are decent people. Some things we can definitely learn from animals. See these passages given.